Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the last video of the Nikke pulls, the TCG Weiss Schwarz, where I'm going to be showing off all the cards that I pulled from the 6 boxes that I did, as well as talk about my prized possession in the TCG slash Nikke, I guess just in general, like the game and the TCG. So let me start off by showing off all the cards that I pulled. I know the, what is it? Double R's are not, I don't think they're not considered part of the parallel pack, right? I believe the parallel pack are considered like the rare ones. Like they have the triple R, the triple R plus, the SSP, the SP, and the SR, and then obviously the creme de la creme, which would be the SEC plus. And I believe double R's are not considered part of that. I think they're considered more of the normal ones. However, I did include one of the double R's in my pack of cards that I pulled, my, the stack that I have right there, because I only had one copy of this card, and which I'm surprised because I have a big stack of double R's, and most of them are dupes, but this specific one I only got one copy of, which is really surprised because usually I would have imagined I would have had multiple copies of it, but I'm very excited and happy that I got one copy of it, and I'll talk about it why. I did bring it up in the first video, the reason why, and it's because the reason I got, well, I've never really been too much into TCG most of my life. Last time I played TCG was back when I was I want to say about 10 years old, when I played Magic the Gathering. I never actually bought any cards. I didn't have money back then. My friend was well off, so he would buy cards, and I would basically just use his, what do you call it, his leftovers, his hand-me-downs, and I would make a deck out of that, and we would play. Granted, we probably didn't play the game very well because we were both kids. We were like 10, 11. But it was fun, though. But most of my life, I never really got into TCG. I never got into Yu-Gi-Oh! I did watch the anime, but it wasn't my thing. My other best friend, or one of my best friends, is really into Yu-Gi-Oh! And then one of my other friends is also into, into One Piece. And originally, I started off collecting figures. Rapi was actually one of the first figures that I actually bought from Ami Ami. But the reason I got into TCG was because I'm still obsessed with Nikke. I actually started playing back in January, and not Rapi. It was Modernia's design, because at the time I didn't know who Rapi was. I'd never seen her before. Modernia's design, I thought it looked really cool. I have a thing for hot girls with guns and weapons, and like Azure Lane or whatever is another one. So when I saw Modernia with a giant gun, I was like, oh shit, that looks cool. What game is that from? And then I found out it was Nikke. And I've been eyeing Nikke for years. I mean, it's only been out for 3, so I guess for a couple years. I just never played it because I always had a shitty phone. I had an S8 Plus. I'd never had a chance to download the game, because if you want to download Nikke, plug all the updates and everything else, that's literally the entire memory of the S8 Plus. So I'm like, yeah, there's no way. And I don't really like to play phone games on PC because I know it's buggy or it's laggy or whatever. Because Azure Lane on PC is it can be unplayable if you want to buy outfits for the girls. Like sometimes the market crashes. So I thought Nikke might be the same thing. So I just, for the longest time, I didn't play it, and then one night I just decided to just play it because I'm like, oh, I really like Modernia's design. It looks really cool. And then I started playing it on PC, and ever since then, for most of the time I played it, I think I have close to 1,000 hours. I have about 1,000 hours in the game, and I got hooked during the intro, right, when what happens to Marianne turns into Modernia. I like the game, but the reason I kept playing, and the reason I became obsessed with it, was because of Rapi. I love Rapi. I mentioned in the previous video, Rapi has become my second favorite video game character of all time after Aegis. And Rapi and Aegis have a lot of similarities, which is the reason why Rapi's number 2. Before then, it was a 2B. 2B used to be my second favorite girl, but now she's been like dethroned by Rappy. So I fell in love with Rappy in the game, and I kept playing it because the story was really good, the music, the characters. Rappy's been my favorite. After, so like I said, I guess to kind of sum it up a little bit so far, Modernia was the reason I started playing. Rappy was the reason I stayed. Rappy's been the reason I've been playing since January. What are we in August, end of August? Rappy and the story were the reason I kept playing. Uh, and I basically played the game every day for 8 months so far. I think there was one time where I stopped for 2 weeks. That was because I had a really weak team. I was stuck at chapter 15. I kept dying over and over because at the time I think my team was leader, Noir, Modernia, Cinderella, and not Noir. Well, Blanc and Noir, but they were so under leveled, and I had terrible gear. It was really bad. So I could never get past chapter 15. So I took a 2 week off, and I came back, and this is the reason I've been playing ever since. This is the reason I even though even though I've taken a week or two break off of or break of from the game, the reason I never gave up is because I've always wanted to get Rappy Red Hood. Rappy Red Hood became my obsession in that game. I wanted to get the character so bad because I had Rappy. I would interchange Cinderella with regular Rappy, but I really wanted Rappy Red Hood. That was my ultimate goal in the game. If nothing else, if I don't accomplish anything else in the game, getting Rappy was going to be my ultimate. Rappy Red Hood was going to be my ultimate goal. And I think I wanted her. I wanted to get her from probably the second month. And I remember my one of my friends that got me into it. They're like, "Oh, you should be able to get her. You can wish her, and you'll be able to get all the characters eventually." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Because I think I started playing a little bit after her banner first appeared. I think her banner was in January, November, or no, December. I don't remember. I just know that I missed it by maybe like a month or something, maybe a month and a half. I know I just barely missed it. And so he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You'll be able to get her. You just have to keep playing." I was like, "Okay, cool. Can't be that bad if you can wish that if you do enough pulls and you do enough wishes or whatever, you put the characters in the wish list, you'll be able to get her." And so over the 8 months, I pulled almost. I want to say about, well, maybe not almost. I want to say I pulled about 50% of the characters, and I pulled a good chunk of the pilgrims. And the whole entire time for those 8 months, Red Hood was always in my wish list. But I pulled I think every other um, pilgrim in my wish list except for her, and I was like, this is crazy. And at that point, I think I had done maybe 500 pulls total in the span of 7 months. I think I did, and no, not even, at least 500. Because I remember at the time when I started playing the game. I guess before I continue, I'll show off all the cards that I pulled because this is gonna lead into the Rappy card. But yeah, these are the pulls that I did for the 6 boxes. I think this one I did it in the last pull in the last box. This one too. This was actually the last pull I did in box number 6. It was actually, I believe it was a second to last pack, probably maybe even the last pack. This one, I believe I did it pack number 5, which is a dupe, as you'll notice later on. This one is also another dupe. I think I got this one box number 5. This one I also got for number 5. This is probably my favorite pull of that box, just because Crow and Guillotine I had 2 copies of already, or I had another copy of. This one I just included it because it was a promo card. Obviously, I don't think it's really worth grading, but I just wanted to have it there. This one, obviously, triple R. I like the art. It's not really one of my favorites. Nothing really special for me. This is one of my favorite ones. I like the whole corduroy thing that it has going on. I love this card. It's really nice. This one, just nothing to say. Not really a character I care for. I think this might be my first or second one that I pulled. I don't remember. I don't have them in order. I have them in the order that I like them. but I really like the whole sky blue thing. You know what this reminds me of? I know most people are probably not going to get the reference because most people are probably too young to remember. But this reminds me of the cover for an anime that I used to watch a lot. It was called Air. It was made by Key Animation. I think it was a visual novel first, and then it became an anime. It's one of the first anime watch that got me into that. But she had the same kind of pose and looking up and like this. You can see the sky and everything. It reminds you a lot. That's one of the reasons I really liked it. This is the second copy of Guillotine. The second copy of Crow. I don't know who that is. I don't. What squad are they? I don't even know how to say that. I don't have this. I don't have this character. I've never seen her before. One of the ones I don't have in the game. There's another character. I think. I think she might be my second or third pull. But I was like, who is this girl? She looks so generic. She looks like a. She looks like one of those rare or one of those blue units that you get where there's like they're mass produced. And I was like, but she's part of the scout squad. She has to be like a port character. But then I realized that the TCG includes a lot of rare characters, not just SSR. So I'm like, oh, maybe she is just a regular character. I was like, she looks kind of generic. I like this one a lot too. I don't remember when I pulled this one, Quincy, but yeah, I like this one a lot too. I don't think I have her in the game actually. I might have her. It's one of my favorite ones that I pulled because obviously all three girls are right there. Plus, it's the cover. It's literally the cover of the game and the TCG. So, and obviously, this is. I think this is the last one I pulled from box number 5, maybe. I don't know, but this is obviously it's an E. So what else is there to say? She's an awesome character, and this is my top 3. So this is the one I was saying I don't have. I know. I mean, I know this. She's at double R. I don't have an SR of her. This is the only copy that I got out of 6 boxes and well over 600 cards. I want to say this is the only copy I ever had of her. So even if double R's are not worth anything or not considered rare, by the market standards, I got her because it's the only copy I have. And I pulled like I said, dozens of packs, 6 boxes, and this is the only copy of her I have. So I wanted to send it to get it graded, even if it's not worth anything, just to keep it, preserve it. I know there's another copy of her. There's another rare copy. I think it's an SR or SSR or something, and it's her like kind of squatting down. She has like a pose, but I like this one because it's her portrait in the actual game. Plus, like I said, maybe it just had a bad box of 6, but every other double R, I have multiple copies of. This is the only one that I ever had of one. So I don't know. And I was saying in previous videos that I'd imagine even within rarities, there's some cards that are more rare within that bracket of rarity. So within double R's, I'm sure there's cards that are more rare than others. So maybe considering Red Hood is one of the most popular characters, I'd imagine maybe she's more rare in the double R bracket or whatever. But yeah, I kept her because, like I said before in previous videos, I bought figures of all my main squad in my team number 1. Like I bought a figure. Obviously, Rappy's right there. There is no Rappy Red Hood figure, so I mean it's essentially the same character. So it's not like oh my god, I don't have Rappy Red Hood figure, so that sucks. But it's the same character. If anything, she's more human like, with like her Red Hood version. And then I bought a Noir figure, I bought a Blanc figure, I bought a Modernia figure. The only figure I don't have is Litter because I don't think there is any figures of her. There might be. I've checked Ami every once in a while and I've not seen a figure of her. So I think Litter is the only one I'm missing. I also bought a Alice figure, which is coming. It's on the way here. She's not part of my team, but I like her. She's one of my top 5 characters. And then my second favorite pull is obviously Modernia. She's my second/third favorite girl in the entire game. She's the reason I started playing the game. Obviously, the reason I kept playing is because of Rappy. but she's the reason that caught my attention. Um, and I know the ultimate version of this card is the SEC Plus. I think it's called First Affection, which you'd have to spend thousands to get her. So I'm not spending that kind of money on her. It's already expensive buying all these booster packs and then buying my Grail. And my favorite card in the entire six boxes, 700 cards probably, is this one. I don't remember what box I pulled, but this is by far my favorite card in the entire thing. I like immediately fell in love with this card. Like it's my favorite without a doubt. It sucks that I never got an SR of either girl individually, but the fact that I got both of them together, I guess beggars can't be choosers. I wanted to get both, and I guess the universe is like, okay, well, we'll just give you both together. So this one is made me happy. I don't know if I'm gonna get I don't know if I'm gonna get the raw copy of each girl. I may or may not. I don't really know. It depends on how expensive they are. Ideally, I wanted to get graded copies of each card to have it paired up with each girl. But I mean, once I start doing that, then it gets stupidly expensive when I'm spending thousands of dollars to get a graded card of each girl. So I don't know. I may or may not do that. Maybe I'll stalk eBay and see if there's any deals or whatever. But yeah, this is my favorite pull of the entire six boxes. So yeah, so like I was saying, I've been really into Rappy as a character, and the reason I got into TCG was because my friends have always been into TCG, and I got it into my head that not only did I want to get collect figures, but I also wanted to have like kind of like this, like the phone case that I have here. I wanted to put it in a shelf on a shelf, and then have the figure, and then have the graded card. Because I used to do that with graded comics. I would have like a statue when I used to collect or a figure of my favorite superheroes, and I would have like the graded comic right next to it. So I want to do the same thing with my cards. So eventually I started getting into looking into TCG, but I just didn't know which TCG to get into, because there's some of them are so expensive, other ones are out of print, or you can't find like Azure Lane. You can't really get into that. All the boxes are sold out, and then right now they're in the middle of Volume 2, so you can't get into that one. And those are the only two games I really play. But even Azure Lane, I don't really play that much. Nikke is Nikke is probably my main game. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me look into that. So then I started looking into rap. I know first I started looking into Blanc, because there is a Blanc card. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It was like $500. I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of money. I don't know if I can spend that kind of money on a card. And then I started looking more into it, and then I found out that it's a Japanese card, and then I was like, oh, there's a Japanese and there's an English card. Like, oh, okay. What's the difference? Because again, I've in comic books we don't have English. I mean, we don't have like Japanese comics, or we don't have like, sometimes we have English, we have German or whatever, but most of the time it's just English. So the whole language differences I didn't really know, and I asked my friend. They're like, oh, well, just get the Japanese one. Japanese have better better cards, or better quality. So I was like, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just kept looking into it, and I started realizing over time that the Japanese have so many. Since they do really well, they print the cards in extremely high quality. There's an abundance of cards. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to go Japanese, because there's that many. Then that means that there's probably not that valuable. They're probably not, So I started looking into it, and I settled on this one, which is obviously this is like my grail when it comes to cards. She's the reason I started collecting cards. Um, Originally, I was gonna get. I didn't know I wanted to get a card. I've always been a graded copy person, whether it's comic books or cards, and I wanted to make my first graded card something special. And I'm like, well, what can I get? I could get something from Azure Lane, or I can get something from Nikke. I'm like, well, what would I consider my favorite game? Because Nikke is probably my favorite game this year. I think I've invested more hours into Nikke than any other game this year. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should get Nikke. I'm like, well, what character should I get? So I was like, I do love Blanc. Blanc is such an amazing character. I love her personality, her attitude, her ultimate, her burst is awesome. But I'm like, do I really like her that much to spend $500? I'm like, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm like, I want my first card to be special. So I kept looking into it. I was like, maybe I could get Modernia, but I'm like, I don't know. She doesn't come out in the story all that much. She's not like one of the main girls. So I'm like, and then that's when I click. I was like, oh, why don't I look at Rappy? Maybe she has a card. And that's when I started looking at the eBay, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of Japanese graded Rappy cards. Maybe I should get one. And then I started looking into. I'm like, I went to the PSA census. I was like, oh man, there's like I think there's like 70. I might be confusing the numbers, but there's dozens of Rappy Japanese. I'm like, oh wow, okay, maybe that card is not that rare though. Like I wanted to get something special and something rare. I never plan on selling this card because I love Nikke. But I wanted to get something special, and I'm like, well, there's so many Japanese cards, and I've heard from Pokemon the Japanese cards tend to be extremely well built. That most of the cards get tens or nines or whatever. So I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to get the Japanese one. So then I kept looking, and eventually I found it. I was like, and I was eyeballing it for about 2 months, and I was trying to save up money and all that stuff to get it. And all the time I was panicking because I went to the what do you call it, the PSA census, and I saw there's only at the time when I looked there was only two. I was like, holy shit, there's only two, and I'm like, and there's one on eBay. That means that there one other person in the whole world, at least on PSA side, one other person in the world has the other Rappy. I'm like, considering Nikke is a very popular game and Rappy is one of the main girls in the game, one of the main three. I'm like, there's a chance that at some point they would run out because I also saw a niece, and they were running out too. Well, actually, no, I think there's only one Anise. I mentioned in one of the videos. There's only one Anise PSA 10, and so that card commands like thousands, like well over 3,000, which is interesting because even the Japanese counterpart commands like well over $3,000. I'm like, if I if I don't get this Rappy card, I'm never gonna be able to find it again because even raw there's only one raw on at the time there's only one on eBay. I think there might be two now. There's only two raw, and even then, there's no guarantee that I'll get a PSA 10. It could be a 9 just because English manufacturers have terrible QC. What is it? QC quality control, QC or whatever. So there's a chance that I could get a raw one, send it in to grade it, and it's a PSA 9, and it like loses its value. So I'm like, rather just, and not to mention the card was like well over $1,000. Like each one is like I think 1,400 for a raw Rappy. So I'm like, if I'm going to spend over $1,000, I might just go all the way and get the graded card because you know if I'm going to spend that kind of money, might as well just buy a graded one. So I was panicking for a while because I'm like, oh man, at some point it's going to run out because I think this specific card had about 30 people I think interested in it. I think when I started, it was like 10, and over time it grew. So I was like, oh man, at some point someone's gonna buy it, and I'll never see it again because there was only at the time there was only two in the world, uh, and I believe now there's another one on eBay but it's not PSA, it's like AGS or something. So far, from what I've seen on the internet, there's only three. Well, there's four. Well, three from PSA and one from some other website. Maybe later on there'll be more, but right now the census is three, and I'm like, I'm not gonna miss out because I'm gonna regret it forever if I don't get it. I mean, there's always a chance that the price will go up. There's always a chance that it'll go down. Who knows? And so I had to immediately buy it, and I'm happy that I did because it's my first ever card. I've never owned any other cards. I've never bought any other TCGs. Never bought any other graded cards. Never bought any raw cards. The Nikke is actually my first game, my first TCG. And so I bought it, and I remember I couldn't believe it just because I'm like, oh, what are the chances of me getting this card? Like, what if it's fake or What if, you know? 'Cause I've heard so many horror stories of people buying online and it's fake, or it's they switched it with another car. I don't know, like some. I was like, oh, you never know until you look into it, and you know, there's always a chance that it was fake. Um, and so yeah, it's will I ever buy from the rest of the characters? I don't know. Maybe not now. Maybe once I recover from buying this card and buying the booster boxes and the figures. Maybe over time, because it's I'm not gonna get the rest of the squad until over. I think the rest of the year. I think might be getting one or two later on in the year, but I'm not gonna get Noir or Blanc or Red Hood anytime soon. It's gonna take a while, or Modernia. So I guess I'm not in a rush to get all the cards. Plus, maybe the senses will grow for those cards, and there'll be more on the market, and it'll be less expensive. Um, the reason I wanted to jump on this one because not only is it Rappy, and she's like my favorite girl, so there's no buyer's remorse, but it's an SEC plus, and so I was gonna talk about that. The only way that, as far as I know, I'm sure by some miraculous reason you could get an SEC in a booster box, but as far as I know, the only way to ever get an SEC plus is from a case, and at least from the distributor that I bought it from, each case is like 1,100. And you also have to keep in mind that there are five types, which I still can't remember who the fifth one is. I know it's Dorothy, Modernia, Anise, Rappy, and I don't know what I want to say. I think it. Oh, that it's Scarlet Black Shadow. My brain just clicked. That's the fifth one, Scarlet Black Shadow. So those are the five that you can get, right? And if you buy a case, I think I want to say you can only get one SEC plus. So think about it. If you spend $1,100, you have a 1 in 5 chance to get Rappy. At least for me, I would have 1 in 5 chance to get Rappy. So I'll tell 1,100, and I might not even get the one I want. And granted, they're all beautiful cards, but if I were to get like Scarlet, like I wouldn't be that excited because she's not like one of my favorite characters. If I were to get Modernia, Rappy, even Anise, I would have been okay with it. Dorothy, I think I would be happier with Dorothy than Scarlet because Dorothy plays a big role in the story. Um, so if I were to get any of those, I would have been happy. But obviously, if I'm going to spend 1,100, it's because I want Rappy, not because I'm like, okay, I'll take whatever I want. So I'm like, there's a very low chance that I can get, you know, Rappy. And even if I get Rappy in $1,100, who's to say that I won't get a graded 10? Who's to say that I don't get an 8 or a 9 or whatever? Especially because it's English, so they're not known for quality control. So you have 1 in 5 chance if you spend $1,100. Even if you buy, let's say you buy 5 boxes, what are the chances of you getting one Rappy in those five? They would be spending well over $6,000, and you could get one Rappy, or you can get. I mean, you'd have to have the worst luck in the world. At that point, you never leave your house because you might trip over and you know, pass away. Uh, but imagine you have that kind of luck. You spend $6,000 and you want the Rappy card and you don't get it, and you get like, I don't know, two or three any other card, and then you don't get this one. Or what if you spend even 3,000? What if you get all the other three and you don't get this one? Or even if you do get it, what if you don't get a 10? And you'd have to spend that much money, and it's not even guaranteed a PSA 10 or any grading. Doesn't have to have the PSA. Um, so it was just so much. That's what I'm saying. Like any of the other cards, any of the other rarities, I could easily find it on eBay. There's a lot of Blancs. There's a lot of Red Hoods. There's a lot of what's the other one? Noir. There's a lot of Red Hoods, and I could get cheaper because there's so many of them because they're a lot less rare. But because it's an SEC plus and she's one of the main three girls, like chances of me finding this one is extremely low. And I've been browsing eBay. I think the first wave of cards came out. I want to say like March, and there's only two, and the second wave of cards just came out in July, and there's only one other extra Rappy. So I may never find it again. So I didn't want to waste my time. I didn't want to waste an opportunity to get it. So that's why I got it. As you can see, I've been on a Rappy binge. Like I got this phone case for my Galaxy 25 Ultra, Took me a while to find it. I mean, it's not like there's no official licensed Rappi merchandise like in terms of phone cases. I don't believe there might be, and even if there is, it's long sold out because Ami Ami sells out of all that stuff. And then I managed to get this one, I think months ago. And then, but the first figure I got was of her. Like I said, I don't care if this is a which version of Rappi because essentially she's the same character. It's just that she's more human-like in her Red Hood form, but she's essentially the same exact character. So that's my idea. My idea is to get all the figures and then just get like a put them like that somewhere in my room in my house. But I think over time, over the months, over the next years, whatever, I'll get each card individually as the figures come in, and then I'll just start setting them up. Um, but yeah, that is my. I think overall, in terms of in the entirety of fiction, I want to say Rappy is probably number three. So number one is Raven, number two is Aegis, and then number three is Rappy, which is a huge, what is it? A huge accomplishment, a huge deal for me because I have played with dozens of hundreds, thousands of video game characters over the years, and the only ones that really stood out were Aegis, Rappy, and 2B. And I talked about 2B, why 2B went from two to number three, and why two or why Rappy's number two with Aegis and what similarities they both have. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about all the pulls that I made for my 6 boxes and talk about my Rappy card and why I decided to get it. And you know, in my previous video, I talked about why I love Rappy, so I didn't want to repeat myself again. So if you want to know why Rappy's number two, watch I think video number 6, the 6 box. I talked about it, and yeah, that's gonna be it for that video.